We're at the end of the Bush era and a few days away from President-elect Barack Obama's inauguration. Right. And in preparing for this interview, I was sitting down and looking over some of the old files, and I found an op-ed that you had written for the New York Post 10 years ago, after the '98 election, and which is an amazing thing. And you saw a Republican Party that was a very different shape. The piece was called "How Republicans Win." And at the time, it wasn't just you who'd recently been reelected in a city that's 5-1 Democrat, but of all the states north of Pennsylvania, all but only 2 had Democratic governors. All the others were Republicans.
Right.
There was an urban Republican phenomena going on, yourself and Steve Goldsmith and a whole generation of third-way mayors. That was just 10 years ago. What happened?
Well, the party has increasingly become sectionally narrower and ideologically narrower. And the narrowness is at the expense of the Northeast, the West, and now big sections of the Midwest. And unfortunately, it went in a direction totally different than I had hoped and have been fighting for over the last 10 or 12 years. It's been my consistent view for the last 10 or 12 years that we cannot continually go into presidential elections giving away New York and California. Because when you give away New York and California, you're giving away 2 of the biggest electoral vote states. But more than that, you're also giving away the states that vote almost exactly like they do. And those are a lot of states. On the West Coast, Washington, Oregon. On the East Coast, Connecticut, Massachusetts, almost the rest of New England, New Jersey, Delaware, down to Maryland, now down to Virginia, maybe Northern Virginia. And the Midwest is now becoming sort of a satellite of Illinois. In other words, Illinois is a state we've given away in the last 2 or 3 presidential elections. Along with Illinois now, most of the Midwest is going in that direction. So we have to learn how to contest in those states. We have to deliberately have a policy of running candidates that can win in the New Yorks and the Californias and the Illinois and in the satellite states.
So what does that mean? How do you reverse that trend? What do those candidates look like who can play offense and win in those states?
There's a second way of analyzing it also. We've lost the suburbs.
Right.
Ronald Reagan won in the 80s, and Ronald Reagan won in the suburbs. The Democrats won the cities. The Republicans won the rural areas, and we still have the rural areas. We didn't have the exurbs then, maybe just beginning, but the Republicans won in the suburbs. In New York, that would have constituted Nassau County, Suffolk County, Westchester County. In New Jersey, many of the counties are suburban counties. In California, it would have been the orange counties and the suburban counties, even outside of San Francisco. Similarly, in Illinois, Pennsylvania, Montgomery County, counties like that. All of those counties, those suburban counties, have now either gone consistently Democratic in the last 3 or 4 presidential elections, or even if we win them very, very narrowly. Bill Clinton took those back from us, and we have never constructed a strategy since Bill Clinton to win the suburban vote back. And that's another way of analyzing it, and it's another reason why we give away the New Yorks and the Illinois and the Californias.
Exactly right. So let's talk about one other element of this, which is the vanishing endangered species known as the urban Republican, which you have been a symbol of, and 10 years ago was popping up everywhere. There was a third-way generation of mayors, Steve Goldsmith in the Midwest, yourself, Richard Riordan in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I was elected almost at exactly the same time as Dick Riordan.
Exactly, and these are folks who are winning in cities overwhelmingly stereotyped as Democrat, but the electorate's more complex when you view it up close. What were the dynamics that caused that? Why has that eroded? In all these places where Republican mayors turned the city around, they then reverted back to Democratic rule. And what can be done to recreate a Republican presence, to really play offense in the urban areas again?
We have to be able to emphasize the issues that are of concern to the voters and not alienate them on issues that just don't work in certain parts of the country. So what do all these people have in common that were elected as Republicans in New York, in New Jersey, in Connecticut, in California? They are socially moderate. That still puts them to the right of Democrats on those social issues. It's not as if they're going to adopt all the policies that Democrats adopt on those social issues, but they're more moderate on, and let's not just talk about abortion, but on treatment of gays, other social issues like that. And it also is more appealing to young people, because that's the way young people see the world. I mean, they see the world in a more tolerant way than some of the views that they seem to think our party is emphasizing.